Yo, welcome to another episode of In a Minute with Evan Lovett, coming to you live from the IM studios in the heart of Los Angeles. And this is an interesting episode. This was obviously not what we had planned. We have some good guests upcoming, but the truth is we have some good episodes in the bank. But this isn't the time for regular content. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently. And obviously with the fires going on, everything's changed in LA. For the long run, it's been changed, but it's really going to change. And a lot of things have been going through my mind, going through the mind of anybody in Los Angeles, because we are all affected. Now, I'm one of the lucky ones that was maybe minorly inconvenienced and, of course, majorly in tune to what's going on. But I still have my home, my family, my possessions. And though there was a scare close by down the street from the studio, right behind the studio, the Sunswept fire, which was just a single structure, people's lives are devastated. And I'm not here to recount that. I know that if you're watching this, you're aware of what is going on in LA. And I don't want to rehash the destruction and the acres and the multiples of the Chicago fire and the San Francisco fire, and parallels are not to the tragedy in Lahaina, in Hawaii. And it goes without saying that the devastation that people have felt in Altadena and Palisades specifically, but Malibu, Silmar, is real and is tragic. And my heart goes out to everybody affected, because again, even if you weren't affected, you know people affected. My wife has clients in the Palisades whose homes burned down. We have friends in Altadena whose house burned down. And these are stories everybody's sharing. And the thing that I keep coming back to in relation to this, because I don't want to rehash. I want to acknowledge that. I want to honor that. And I want to say that genuinely, this is changing Los Angeles, which is the truth. But in regard to this show, I've been told to make a statement. That's not going to happen. That's not what I do. I've been told to address what went wrong, how it went wrong, what can be done better, where do we go from here? All valid points that I may touch on, but I don't have the answers. And I don't think anybody does. And now there's going to be plenty of time for second guessing, finger pointing, blaming. And there will be plenty of blame to go around. Believe me, everybody. But there's also reasons why decisions are made at the time. And I just want to extrapolate on one instance of this, because I think it's important to realize that it's easy to come in after the fact and be a white knight once the kingdom's been burned down. And here's what went wrong and here's what we should have done. Sure, it's already burned down. Everything you're saying, I'm listening, right? Because I see what happened. So anything else would have been superior. But at the time decisions are made, they're made for a reason, right? And one specific one that I want to come back to, because I reported on this at the time. In April of 2024, the LA city budget came out. It's a $12.8 billion budget with something like 1,200 line items. That might even be an understatement on the line items. One of those line items that's been brought up is the fire department funding was cut. At the time, it was reported 23 million. I'm hearing it's 17 million. I don't want to get caught up in these issues for this episode, but I need to bring this up as an example. Is the budget was cut, and the areas that were increased included LAUSD crossing guards, trash pickup, potholes being filled, replacing the copper wire that's been stolen. So at the time, people aren't going to fight against crossing guards. People aren't going to fight against picking up trash. People aren't going to fight against copper wire, because for me, the 6th Street Viaduct, without its lights that are not on because somebody stole the copper wire, is a sad sight. And that's one of the proudest monuments in all Los Angeles. So damn right, I want the copper wire. Reason why I bring that up. And it's not excusing it anything. And nobody's making excuses. But I will say, before we blame, finger point, yell at anybody, because everybody, again, it will be shown, everybody made missteps. But let's at least get the facts, figure out the why, retrace what went wrong on a more macro scale. Because again, it is so much easier to find a scapegoat than to find solutions. And finding solutions after the fact aren't solutions. They're suggestions for the future. And that's what we're going to need here, because we need to avoid this. We need LA, as I mentioned, as you know, is the city of fires. There's always been fires since the beginning of time. There were controlled fires going back to the indigenous folks. There are wildfires every year since I've been alive. And preventative measures need to be taken. And those measures cost money and resources. And some years that money and those resources are going to sit because there aren't fires and we have plenty of rain or whatever the case may be. But you do need to be proactive. When you're dealing with a tragedy of this magnitude, everybody's emotions are raw and everybody wants to react and everybody wants to find somebody to blame. And again, I'll say this, whether it's Karen Bass, DWP, fire department, anybody involved, every state of California, there are missteps, there are problems, and there are questions to be asked, and there are answers that are going to be demanded. Okay? But we need to sort all that out and figure that out, because the main thing right now, and the main thing with In a Minute with Evan Lovett and LA in a Minute, is protecting and honoring this community and helping the people that are affected, which is all of us in Los Angeles, move forward. And how do we do that? Well, I'll tell you what I do see right now is my wife, who's putting together our LA in a Minute fundraiser, our efforts that we're going to be doing, events. She went out to volunteer this past weekend, the first weekend after the fire started. She went to 4 different places, all of which had too many volunteers and were overflowing with donations. And this is a beautiful thing. And what I want to focus on in this instance is that Los Angeles has rallied. And you knew it. If you're watching the show, you knew it like I knew it. Los Angeles is so strong and so proud, and we're all here for one another. And again, I said it last week, Los Angeles, I'm proud of you, but that is the damn truth, because we're showing it. And when I hear donation centers saying that they don't need any more donations because they have too many, it makes me smile, because at least we're trying to help the people that have lost things. And there are so many, not just the homeowners. And again, I don't want to repeat information, but it is the truth and it needs to be acknowledged. The homeowners that have all of these service employees, if you will, nannies, landscapers, pool maintenance people, but there's cottage industries growing in all these neighborhoods that people are reliant on these homeowners directly for their jobs. And now they don't have an employer or income. And that's a trickle down to every neighborhood. And that's why it is good to see people helping, but it's also something that we need to acknowledge and be aware of, because this isn't just going to go away. The fires go away. They stop smoldering. Thankfully, as of today, this moment, the majority of the fires have been contained. Palisades and Eaton still burning. Looks like they got them under control. But even when those are out, and when those are a faint memory, and believe it or not, you know how people are these days, down the road, people will be like, remember the fires? Like it was a long time ago. They're going to be a faint memory at that point. People are still going to need the help and need to rebuild their lives. And we need to keep focusing on that. And I do want to say that LA, you're doing a great job, but we're going to have to keep it up, right? As far as In a Minute, as far as my show, I've been trying to do good coverage. I've been trying to, as I say, shine a positive light on communities. Altadena, such a historic community. Again, one of the proudest African-American communities in Los Angeles, starting with the Great Migration. Pacific Palisades. We talked about the mobile home park. And then even yesterday, I ran an episode on Nickerson Gardens in Watts, which is the largest housing project in Los Angeles. And the reason I ran that is because the grandson of the founder, Rodney Nickerson, perished in the fires in Altadena, if you will. And it's all connected because we are all connected in Los Angeles. And I always kind of say this, our diversity is off the charts, but it's a special place in the sense that we all need to commute one way or the other. And you're passing through Boyle Heights, or you're passing through Montebello, you're passing through Pomona, wherever it is, you always see these neighborhoods, these communities, and we're familiar with them even when we're not familiar with them. And there's that connectedness that because LA is such a geographically big city, we are all connected, and people in your neighborhood right now come from and go to all these other neighborhoods that maybe we think about, maybe we don't. But it's all connected. We are all connected. And that's why it's good to see this surge, this swell in support, at least from within. And it's why it does pain me, to be honest with you, to see such a blame game. And I'm getting castigated a little bit for what's being called a defense, if you will, of our current leadership, right? I had Karen Bass on the show in 2022. I also had Rick Caruso on the show in 2022. Sat with both of them, looked in their eyes, they looked in my eyes, and I tried to help the people decide, same question, same approach to both, who would be a better mayor. And I didn't take a stand on that issue. I wasn't like, here's who to vote for. And currently right now, I support whoever's in office, and whether it's city council, mayor, controller, even though I have differing opinions on many issues, because I do know that I want the best interests of Los Angeles at heart for what I believe in and for my leaders. And I know that even if people are doing it a different way and have different opinions, they're in office, and I want to support that entity. Like my roommate Joe in college used to say, you have to support the president, Republican or Democrat, because it's the president of the United States. Well, that's how I feel about the mayor of Los Angeles or the city council people reflecting my district. My district is CD4, by the way. I'm in touch with Nithya Raman's office. That's my rep. She is a tireless advocate for Los Angeles. And now I disagree with her, and we've had these conversations on various issues. But because she is my rep, I'm going to support her. Doesn't mean I'm going to vote for it. It doesn't mean I'm going to vote for Karen Bass either. I want to be clear about that. But this is what I'm getting at. Is right now, we're right here in Los Angeles, and we need to support Los Angeles and the structure, the organization, the elected officials are who they are, and they're who they're going to be right now as we are getting through this. So I'm going to support that. I'm going to say my opinion, just like I like to see dialogue. I like to see debate. But what I don't like to see is finger pointing and blame without facts, without reason, with animosity, and undertones. If you're going to talk about an issue, let's talk about the issue. If you want to talk about why the Santa Ynez Reservoir was empty, we can talk about that. But let's get the facts first before we point fingers. If we want to talk about why the fire hydrants were empty, we can talk about that. We need to talk about that, but we need to get the facts first. If we want to talk about why Karen Bass was in Ghana, we can talk about that. But we need to know why and what happened and the timeline. And all of these questions will be asked. And right now, I'm sure you're seeing it, especially if you're on X, especially if you're on any platform, TikTok, Instagram, frankly. The blame game is in full swing. And that's something that just right now I'm not ready for. Not while the fires are burning. Not while people's homes, the embers are still getting put out on people's homes, their lives, and their memories. So we're going to have that discussion. I'm going to be leading that discussion, by the way, but I'm going to be leading that discussion with facts and information, because it doesn't do us any good to be angry. And luckily, most of Los Angeles, everybody watching right now, you may be angry. You may be hurt. We're all sad. I'm going to tell you that right now. And it's definitely weird. It is definitely a weird time in Los Angeles right now. But we got to be productive, and we got to be positive, and we got to look towards what we can do to help each other and to support each other. And we've been doing a damn good job. So again, I didn't come into this episode today right here with any agenda other than maybe as a therapy session for the old time viewers that used to listen to or still do listen to the audio version. I used to have a segment called Therapy Session, where just something I needed to get off my chest or emotionally work through. That's kind of what this is right now. And I appreciate you for providing me this audience. And, you know, as far as what I'm going to do is we're putting together an event. Details are going to be announced. Thank you, Irene. That's my wife, for helping put this together. Thank you, Gloria, our operations manager at LAinaminute, for helping facilitate everything. But I'm going to keep shining a positive light on the communities and the stories that are impactful, on the histories and the legacies. Moon Shadows burned down. That's a landmark restaurant on PCH. I think that by celebrating what we had and still focusing and shining a positive light on what we have, that could be my contribution. And I kind of want to take that mentality and apply it, because even conversations right now on a daily basis in Los Angeles are strange. How you doing? How's it going? I mean, you want the truth that I'm just thinking about these fires and this tragedy and like what's going on and when things are going to get back to normal, maybe months, maybe years in Los Angeles? Or do you just want to like, oh, it's great, and then move on, and then we're disingenuous? So I don't know. We love each other. We love this city. I'm proud of this city. I'm proud of all of us. And I'm really sad for everybody that did lose family, houses, possessions. It's something terrible. And something we're all going to have to work through together. And let's work towards solutions, and let's work together, and let's continue working together, because LA is the greatest city on the globe. And we just took a big blow right across the entire swath of the city. You know, my wife brought something up, the Freddie Freeman Grand Slam, the World Series. They not like us. We were on top of the world. LA was on top of the world last year. Recently, 2 months ago, top of the world. And now it seems like it's hell on earth. Hell A. The New York Post ran the headline. How clever. Hell A. But it's true. But we are LA, and LA always rebuilds, and LA always gets stronger. We're the city of the future. We're the city of tomorrow. And every tomorrow from now on, we are going to get better, and we are going to get stronger. And let's focus on that, because when we work together, we're unstoppable. And Los Angeles has proven that since the day it was incorporated, since the day it became a pueblo. 1781. Los Angeles, September 4th, 1781. El pueblo de Nuestra Señora, la Reina de Los Angeles. This is the best city on the globe. And let's remember that. And it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. But let's support one another. And let's amplify the positivity, because that's how we get through this. That's the best way to get through this. That's how I want to get through this. Again, I thank you for listening. And I got to give a shout out, look, to everybody that's helping, to everybody that's contributing, to volunteering, donating. You really are making a difference. And even if it's not with your things, it's the spirit. And even, if you were like my wife, turned away because there are too many volunteers, that's a good thing. And you're still putting that good energy out there and wanting to do that. It really reflects well on our city. And I can't say it enough. I love Los Angeles. I wish I would have had a statement to read that could have been so meaningful. But you know what? I want to speak from the heart and see what I see and see it how I see it. And right now, this is a transition. This is a very weird time in a weird place. And I didn't want to be disingenuous. I didn't want to have a guest in and pretend the fires aren't happening. I didn't want to show an episode that was filmed before the fires and were wonderfully oblivious. I just, for me, didn't think that was appropriate. Maybe it will be soon. Maybe next week we go back to regularly scheduled programming. But for now, I needed this. I hope this was helpful in some way. And you want to yell at me? You want to tell me that you want to blame some people? Let's start the recall of Karen Bass. Let's get Caruso in there. That's great. That's your opinion. Go for it. I know that a lot of people feel that way. I do. I'm not naive, but I'm just telling you how I feel. And for me, it's too soon. It's been 11 days as of the day of this filming since the fires. And for me, it's too soon to start going that direction. Let's get all the information, man. That's what I do. I've been described as an information station. Take it in, put it out there. Send me what you want to send me, but make sure it's factual. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep giving my respect, my love, my regards, my hopes and prayers to everybody affected, my thoughts and prayers to everybody affected by the fires, which is all of us, which is Los Angeles. And above all, I'm going to keep celebrating this city, and I'm going to keep trying to shine a positive light on this city because there is so much positive within us in Los Angeles. And again, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting LA in a Minute. And honestly, thank you to Culver City Toyota, my wonderful sponsors who have been here throughout. They even provided free rental cars for people affected by the fire. So thank you, Culver City Toyota, George, the general manager. They really do care about the community, care about Los Angeles like we all do. And LA, you're doing a fantastic job. That's it. It's been a minute, but honestly, love you, LA. Thank you.